What's up, everybody, and welcome to the next episode of Devin the Bear. Today, we're going to be talking about UFC 264. Everybody's really excited for this card, and I think that they should be because every fight from the prelims to the main event is just very exciting. So on paper, this card should be one of the most exciting of the year. It's halfway through the year, and I know they are starting to give out like awards for mid-year fighters. But anyway, we're going to get right into it.
I thought you said mid-tier fighters at first.
Well, some of them are, I think. So one of the early ones is going to be Trevin Giles versus Dricus du Plessis. I think that fight's is definitely underrated. I think that one's going to be really exciting.
Fight. That's a really great middleweight fight right there to start off the prelims on the TV.
I think Trevin's very exciting. Everybody knows that. But I think also that Dricus is out there knocking dudes out, submitting dudes. So I think it's going to be a really fun fight.
Yeah, and so like the whole what's crazy about what's his name? How you say it? Duplessis? Is that how you say it?
I think it's Duplessis. I could be wrong. It could be Plessis.
But Duplessis, he actually is a black belt in kickboxing.
Yeah.
And has really good submission wins.
He does.
It's insane. And he's knocking everybody out right now.
That's what I'm saying.
He has one loss by knockout.
Him and Giles make for a very fun fight to watch. Anywhere that fight goes should be fun.
Yeah. And I want to say Duplessis has a 100% finish rate. When I was looking into him a little bit, doing some research on him, he has 100% finish rate.
With his wins, because I know he's not undefeated.
No, he's not undefeated. He has one loss. His last loss was in KSW against Roberto Slojcik, and actually, that fight was a rematch. He had beat Roberto by decision. By TKO. But Trevin Giles, you've seen Trevin Giles. He's really good. He's fought some great fighters. He's also a native Texan.
Yeah.
So I think it's always exciting to see those guys fighting in the UFC, just because it's like, damn, like Texas MMA is huge, and that's why we talk about it, is because there's big names that are coming up that are getting into the UFC. Leo Mano Martinez is one of them. And speaking of him, I'm mad he's not fighting Sean O'Malley. So we'll get to that in a bit. But it's irked the shit out of me so much, man. But man, it's just with Trevin Giles, what kind of grows makes you question him a little bit is just his submissions. Like, he's susceptible to him. He has 2 submission losses in the UFC. While Duplessis, most of his wins are by submission. He's a kickboxer. Yeah. He has 9 wins. He's 15-2. He has 9 wins by submission and 6 by knockout, which I think is crazy to see that, because it's like, damn, so this guy has a ground game to compete with that, and he also has a stand-up, of course. So, but I think Duplessis pulls off I think he goes for a finish, knockout or submission.
I think so as well. As much as I like Trevin Giles, and I'm always down to go for the Texan, but I don't know, man. Duplessis is just out there.
Yeah.
Like we were saying, he's knocking you out or he's submitting you. And he's shown that he's more comfortable submitting guys, even though he's a kickboxer. He's used to striking, but he just has a great time every time he's in there. So I'm going to go with him simply for the fact that he has fun when he's out there.
Yeah.
The next fight is going to be Ryan Hall and Ilia Topuria. Boy, is it fun watching Ryan Hall, I guess. I enjoy watching Ryan Hall. I really, really do. You just never get to watch him.
This is how I feel whenever when I watch Ryan Hall come on a fight. I'm super excited, but I'm watching with a guy who doesn't like jiu-jitsu at all, who makes fun of me for watching shirtless men fight. I'm like, please, this is the one fight I don't want you to watch right now, man. But
yeah, he may not be the most dynamic fighter, but he's not going to lose.
No. He's
could Topuria come out with a win? Absolutely. It's MMA, you never know. But statistically, Ryan Hall's not going to go in there and lose. He's going to either catch you with the submission or keep you on the ground until you can't keep fighting, and then
it's going to be
fight's over.
It's either going to be a crazy submission or a really boring decision win.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. He's either going to tap you out or he's going to take you to the ground and hold you there till you can't fight anymore and the fight's over.
Because the thing is, though, is guys don't really want to engage him because they know what's going to happen. He's going to roll for that knee bar, or he's going to roll for a heel hook. And Ilia is a good fighter. He's 10-0 right now. First fight. I want to say this is his first fight in the UFC, if I'm not mistaken. So he's 10-0 coming in. I want to say he has a 90% finish rate. But I think that with this fight, though, it's like we're seeing Ryan Hall come back. But This is what I want to happen though, because I already know he's gonna go for a fucking heel hook, but I want him to come in and just be Bangkok ready, like fucking best stand up you didn't expect at all, like some Brian Ortega type shit, and come in with great boxing. Do I think that's gonna happen? Not at all, but
I'd like to see Machida crane kick.
dude, that'd be fucking insane.
I feel like we haven't seen anyone do something like that since Machida.
No, he had the I know everyone talks about the Silva versus Belfort one, but I think Machida had the better crane kicks.
Oh, yeah. Knocked out Randy Couture's tooth.
Yep, and also knocked out Vitor Belfort in a much more dominating fashion than Anderson did.
Silva.
But yeah, I think
Ryan Hall.
I'm going Ryan Hall also
By crane kick.
I'm gonna go like flying, spinning back, front flip, elbow to the knee.
He's gonna win by chicken wing.
Chicken wing. That would be incredible, dude. He just fucking he puts the claw on him, the mandible claw. Pulls a fucking sock out of his crotch, like just. So.
Man, yeah, but so we're both gonna be on Ryan Hall getting the win there. The next fight is gonna be Nico Price and Michel Pereira. That fight again is wild. Nico Price, always fun to watch. He'll get knockouts from anywhere.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, you got Pereira, who's trying to get knockouts from anywhere.
Yeah.
Doing backflips off the cage, doing cartwheels, doing freaking all kinds of crazy moves to try to hit you with them. And I would say the difference with him and other fighters who do that is he does try to hit you with them.
Yeah.
He's not just doing it for show and to be flashy. When he did that backflip on that dude to pass guard, that was freaking crazy.
That dude,
was it a backflip or was it a front flip?
It was a backflip. He just pulled that shit out of his butt and just was like, did a backflip. And he actually went on to lose that fight.
He did?
I think was it the one that happened in the UFC?
No, this wasn't in the UFC.
Oh, outside the UFC. Okay. Yeah. I know that one. He did it one time in a fight in the UFC. I forgot who he fought, but he was like throwing a bunch of wild shit, doing backflips and just throwing whatever at him. And then he went on to gas himself out in the first round from doing that.
Well, he's always done this, and I think he can do it from start to finish, really. But yeah, he was in the guard. He was in the guard, standing from one guy, and he turned around, did a backflip, and I'm pretty sure he stomped on the guy's head. But it was okay in that organization, so he got away with it. But yeah, he did a backflip to pass this guy's guard, and it worked.
That's awesome. But that's a tough fight, though, man. I think that right there. I wish that fight was actually the headline of the prelims. I think that's the best fight.
I think that could easily be fight of the night.
Yeah, that's why this is
easily.
This is the one card, like, because they stack up these McGregor cards perfectly. Is the word, like, from top to bottom, it's a great fucking card.
Yeah.
And I think this fight can, like you said, can easily be fight of the night, fight of the month. Like, these guys are gonna go out there. And
it could be fight of the year.
Yeah.
As long as both guys don't get knocked out early.
Yeah.
It could be fight of the year.
It's hard to knock out Nico Price. He'll take a lot of damage. I mean, in his Luque fight, his eye was swelled shut. The doctor had to make him stop. It was funny watching him scream at the camera whenever they're showing his eye. But yeah, man, I feel like what's that? Michel Pereira does pull off the win in this one, though.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Nico Price. I think he brings more power to the table, and I think his he sticks to the fundamentals a little bit more than Pereira. Yeah. So I think he's just that strong structure, the strong base is gonna get him the win.
Yeah, I think I feel like Michel Pereira wins by decision. I don't think he's able to put him out. I think he showed in the Cass Williams fight that he stuck more to a game plan. Yeah. He wasn't too hectic at all with his fight because Chaos Williams can put you to sleep anywhere. Yeah. He's a scary fucking dude.
And in his last fight, he showed that he can keep you on your feet.
Yeah.
And go the distance if he needs to.
Yeah. And
so he's changed.
I think with Nico Price, he's a great fighter. I hate to see him lose. I think he's a fun dude. He's there to put on a show. And I think with Michel Pereira, though, he's showing discipline now. He's showing that, okay, I can't believe he makes 170. It's insane watching that.
He's very tall and wide.
Yeah. He's built kind of weird. I mean, I know that's not a cool thing to say.
He fights kind of weird.
Yeah, he does. But, like, his shoulders are out. Like,
they're
out
very wide
in front of him. But, yeah, man, it's going to be a fun one for sure, though. But, yeah. And so,
if you guys can't catch the main card, definitely watch these prelims. Definitely try to catch the Nico Price, Michel Pereira fight. That one's going to be a fun one. But the headliner of the prelims is going to be Carlos Condit, the natural born killer. He's going to be fighting Max Payne Griffin. I really am not sure how to feel about this fight. It's going to be exciting, or it's going to be a technical striking showcase by Carlos Condit.
Yeah.
I think Max Griffin is going to go in there and look for the knockout.
I think so too. He got the knockout against Song Kenan in his last fight, and I did not expect that to happen at all. I had Song winning that fight on whenever we placed your bets on the Verdict app and stuff, and I thought Song, he was actually the favorite going into that fight as well. Then I know when Max Griffin knocks him out, and I was so mad. But I mean, it was a good fight from him. But I think with Carlos Condit, he's on the back end of his career, and I think he knows it as well. So he's on the back end of his career, and he's not putting on the best performances either whenever he's winning his fights.
He's really not. He doesn't look bad, but he looks his age.
Yeah. It shows that he's 37. It shows that he's been fighting. I think he's been fighting since he was 18.
Yeah.
And so I think that says a lot that it's starting to finally catch up to him. I mean, his fight with Court McGee and Matt Brown, those were his last 2 wins. They weren't fun fights,
no.
Especially his fight with Court McGee. He finally broke that. He was on like a 5
losing streak.
5 losing streak, and he finally, but he just hasn't been the same. He hasn't been able to catch that. Why they called him the natural born killer? Because Carlos Condit was fun to watch. He's always one of my favorite fighters to tune in to watch. He always put on great fights. But with Max Griffin, he's a little up there too. He's 34, and he's kind of he's had a splotchy record in the UFC, but his losses have been to some of the top guys.
When was his last loss?
His last loss was to Cowboy Oliveira back in March of 2020.
I don't know how long he's been with him, but I know that he's with Jim West as a coach now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that has done wonders for him. I think Jim West is a great coach, and I think he's getting things figured out to become an even better coach.
Yeah.
Is Carlos Condit still with Greg Jackson?
Let me double check for you.
Because I feel like if he is, and I think that he is, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, he's still with Greg
He's still
Jackson.
there?
Yeah.
I think that's going to hold him back in this fight. I think the coaching...
Yeah.
Greg Jackson is going to tell Carlos Condit, you're the more experienced fighter. Go out there and win this fight the way that you know how to win the fight and do your thing. But you're going to have Jim West who's going to tell Max Griffin, hey, you know what kind of fighter you are. We know what kind of fighter Carlos Condit is. You need to go put this one away. It's as simple as that. So I think fighting styles, coaching styles, I think Max Griffin is going to win this fight.
Because while like Greg Jackson's gym has always been a world class gym, it's their brand has deteriorated over the years, and not like I know that's a strong word to use, but I mean,
well, it has. Yeah, it definitely has. And you're not wrong.
When was the last time like one of their fighters looked phenomenal besides John Jones?
Yeah, well,
even
when he looks phenomenal, he doesn't look phenomenal.
You got to fucking question it now all the time. And I mean that's even I will love to argue with someone about that too, but what's that?
John Jones. Let us know in the comments what you think about John Jones.
Yeah, because I will pull up the facts. And what's that? So, like, with that, like, besides that, like, okay, who they have? They have Holly Holm. I mean, she's good, but Holly Holm never really got to her full expectations as she was supposed to be. She knocked out Ronda Rousey, which was incredible to see her finally win that championship. But she wasn't ever at that next level, I feel like Greg Jackson's taking a backseat and let Mike Winkeljohn take place of most of these, like head coach for most of these guys. And I don't care for Mike Winkeljohn as a coach. This guy has openly bashed fighters for losing fights, and to go ahead and just pretty much put your fighter on the cross and to not have their back and to not support them. That says a lot about your character and who you are as a coach. But with that being said, though, I feel like also they just really don't let their guys know, hey, man, like you can't fight the best guys in the world anymore. Like, you can't keep up with them. And I feel like where Carlos Condit is at, since he tore his ACL against Tyron Woodley, he never has been the same fighter since. And, I mean, we saw him whenever his last loss was against Michael Chiesa, that really nasty Kimura that he got on him. And, dude, that shit fucking lives in my head rent-free. Like, that was a disgusting Kimura, the way he had his arm turned. And you can just tell that he tore everything in his shoulder with the way he had it bent behind him. But... and then Carlos Condit used to be known for his submission game, for his ground game, and guys never would have wanted to go there with him. but now people can go there with him. They're beating him, and I think with Max Griffin, he's older. Actually, I was wrong. He's 35, and he's older, but I think he has the power to put Carlos Condit away, and I think he does.
Yeah, he definitely does. And that, like I said, I think Max Griffin's going to get the knockout win here. I hate saying it because I hate going against Carlos Condit. I love Carlos Condit. But I don't know. That's just how I see this fight going down. Let me know if you think I'm wrong.
Yep. And so on to the main card. Starting off, we have Sugar Sean O'Malley taking on Chris Moutinho. In the main event, Chris Moutinho has taken this fight, was it 2 weeks notice or 10 days?
Something
like that.
Something in that span.
About 2 weeks notice.
First fight in the UFC.
Yep.
Against Sean O'Malley. It's a tall order, especially with Sean O'Malley coming off possibly one of his biggest wins as of late against Thomas Almeida. Really strong showing in his stand-up. Chris Moutinho's got his work cut out for him. Chris Moutinho's been known to get hit by big shots. If you don't know much about him, well, you're about to.
Yeah. Oh.
Chris Moutinho's going to get the knockout win.
We'll see, man. We'll see.
I don't know if it'll be by knockout, but I'm going to stick by Chris Moutinho because I want him to win.
Yeah.
That's how I'll word that.
I think they could have found better options for Sean O'Malley. And it's
Like
nothing
you were
against what's that?
Like you were saying earlier.
Yeah, like I said, Merab Dvalishvili said he would. Cody Stammen.
Well, I mean, you were bringing up Mano Martinez.
Mano Martinez. Oh, yes, thank you. I fucking forgot. So Mano Martinez does have a fight set next month in the UFC. He'll be making his UFC debut. But I feel like when it came down to it, like, okay, well, we're going to give him a much lower ranked guy. Why not give him a UFC newcomer, Mano Martinez? I think Mano Martinez, especially whenever he gets his footing in the UFC, he gives somebody like Sean O'Malley a lot of problems. I think somebody like Adrian Yanez gives Sean O'Malley a lot of problems. Adrian Yanez has a fight set this month. I don't know what he walks around at, but I do feel like that he could have easily made the weight win in there and brought the fight to him. And so it's like, why are you going outside of this guy? Hasn't even had a fight in the UFC. Not that I'm counting Chris Moutinho out. I want to say Chris Martinez, but Chris Moutinho out. But it's like, do you think this was a good idea? You have plenty of bantamweight fighters who would have took that fight on a fucking dime. They have over 450 fighters in the UFC. And
well, let's just say that maybe they're trying to keep Sean O'Malley on a win. Maybe they're counting out. I didn't want to say obviously, but maybe they're counting out Chris, and Chris is not going to go in there and get the win.
Yeah.
So it keeps our Sean O'Malley going. It keeps Sean in people's minds. But it's like, it's never going to matter until he fights someone ranked higher than him.
But the second he does, he loses. You know, he fought.
Statistically, yeah, that's been the case.
Yeah, okay.
But I think he can make top 10. I do.
Yeah, like, okay, so when he fought Cheeto Vera beat him fair and square. People want to argue it, but he did. It was a leg kick.
And I will say, I think if they rematch, it'll be a little different.
I think Cheeto Vera still wins.
He might still win, but I think it'll be different. I think it'll be a more exciting fight. I think it'll last longer.
And anyone saying that leg kicks don't win you fights, well, what happened with Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor the second time, you know?
What happened with Anthony Smith, Jimmy Crute?
Yep.
What happened with half the Aldo wins?
The same night, though. What's that? Yeah. What's it called? Chris
Weidman and Uriah Hall.
Yeah. Leg kicks win fights, man. As much as people don't like it or want to admit that's a fair win, it's not like they purposely fucked his leg up. Well, they kind of did purposely fuck his leg up, but they didn't break it, you know? And, but with that, though, is like, with Sean O'Malley, is just, you want to see him get pushed now. Like, he's been in the UFC for a while now. And whenever he started in the UFC, he won, what's that, 2 of his first fights in the UFC by decision. And so it kind of messed with the hype a little bit because it's like, because I think Sean O'Malley is a great fighter. I think he has some of the best stand-up in the division if he's able to show it. He's very dynamic and he's very unorthodox for a lot of these other fighters. But eventually it's like, hey, if you're going to give him an unranked fighter, why not give him an unranked fighter in the UFC, you know?
Yeah. And that's kind of getting into my thing is that's the reason that I want him to lose this fight. And I'm a hater for saying that. I don't really care.
Yeah.
I want him to lose this fight because if he loses this fight, then he's either going to have to choose to fizzle out or step up and make a change.
Yeah.
And if he makes a change, you know, your approach has to be different. You can't just I don't want to say pick fights, but you have to go out there and challenge people.
Yeah.
And that's not really what he's doing. He's going out there and getting fights and winning. Cool, but you're not challenging anybody.
Yeah, nobody. You're not really pushing the pace in
Yeah.
your career, and you're kind of, because, excuse me, I think a lot of people are fans of Sugar Sean O'Malley. I'm a fan of him. I think he's a good. I think his personality and his charisma that he brings is fun and to watch. People fucking make fun of how he dresses and shit. I think it's kind of cool.
I don't.
I'm like, man, do your fucking thing, dude. Like, you know, hey, that's how you want to be. If that's how you present yourself, fucking do it. And if he's cool with the face tattoos and shit, I just wish he would get them done a little better. But you got the fucking money, man.
Yeah.
But hey, man, like I said, I think he has great stand up. We haven't seen his jiu-jitsu game yet. What if he goes out there and fucking submits Chris Moutinho? Which also, I feel like even then it's gonna question the legitimacy of his jiu-jitsu though, is because it's like, okay, you submitted a guy that has no fights in the UFC who's 9-4. 9-4 isn't a bad record. I mean, it's a better record than mine, you know.
9-4 is not a bad record at all. It's not a record that you expect to see in a top challenger these days, but I think that's just the level of things.
Yeah.
I mean, look at GSP. GSP had 2 losses. Brock Lesnar had losses.
Yeah.
And whatever you think about Brock Lesnar, he had losses.
Yeah.
Guys lose, you know. Look at Conor McGregor. He's got 4 or 5 losses.
It's hard to hold losses against guys who are really early in their career. You know, guys get in the UFC, they don't have the best records, but then they start picking
figure
up
out
wins.
how to fight.
Yeah.
Look at Bilal Muhammad. You know.
Yeah.
So Chris being 9-4, you got 9 wins. That's what that tells me. You have 9 wins and you have 13 fights in the cage. That's that many minutes in the cage.
Yep.
That's awesome. That I think is a good stepping stone to get in the UFC. And what better stage to be given than to be fighting Sean O'Malley?
Yeah.
Sean O'Malley, like you said, he's very popular, so this could bring a lot of attention to Chris Moutinho.
Yeah, and I think also with that though is like, you know, you look at Chris Moutinho's losses, they're all by stoppages, 2 knockouts and 2 submission losses. And with Sugar Sean O'Malley, you have, he has 1 TKO loss, but still, like, most of his wins are by knockout. And so I think what's going to come into play is not only the level of competition, but also Chris Moutinho's durability. He's won 2 fights but he's had back-to-back knockout losses since those fights. And so I feel like durability does play a factor into that as well, you know?
Yeah, and I will say that his knockout losses, they're to guys who, when you look at them, you know they hit hard.
Yeah.
So the way that Sean O'Malley hits hard is different than the way that these guys hit hard.
Yeah.
Sean O'Malley uses his reaction time and his speed to catch you.
Yeah.
These guys just go in there and power you down.
Yeah.
So how will he handle Sean O'Malley's power shots versus these big guys' power shots? That'll, I think, be a factor as well.
And I think with Sugar Sean's power shots is just he's very technical, he's very precise, he puts it on the right spot.
Yeah.
You know, and but that being said though, I just think that Sean O'Malley takes this one by knockout. I think that's how this one goes down. And so what about you? What do you think?
I got Chris Moutinho.
Yeah, I do.
I don't know how, but he's going to do it.
He gets it.
Like, he gets it.
And so the next you get that no. But fucking what's it called? Go watch Unforgivable on YouTube. If you've seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, it's fucking YouTube, classic YouTube. So the next fight is Irene Aldana versus Yana Kunitskaya.
I think this is going to be a pretty fun back and forth fight. I think either girl can win this fight. Girl, woman, they.
Call her babe?
I don't know. No, I said they. Them.
Oh,
they them.
They/them.
Jesus, come
So,
on.
what?
I think this fight can be pretty back and forth. But I do have Kunitskaya I think she's going to win by decision. And I know that she's not the favorite going into that, but I just think she has a good style for this. I think that mentally she's going to be ready to win this fight. If you go look at her fight against Aspen Ladd, that was a very interesting one. And I think that'll kind of be the roadmap for this fight. I think this fight would be pretty similar, and so I think that she's pretty ready for this fight.
And so for me though, I think Irene Aldana pulls off the win on this one. I think she has the heavier hands. I think she has the better ground game as well. Kunitskaya in her last win against Caitlin Vieira, I think that's how you say her name, Vieira. But so that was, I thought Vieira won that fight, but I still had Kunitskaya by decision, and she won by decision. It's very controversial, and everybody else was like, I don't know how she won that fight, but I think Kunitskaya she's real, not susceptible, but whenever she feels the power, she gets very, very timid. And I think she feels the power of Irene Aldana. Yeah, I think she feels the power, and I think she realizes, like, damn, like, she hits hard because she's knocked women out cold. Yeah. And you don't see a lot of that. You don't see a lot of, like, out cold knockouts with these smaller weight classes as well. And so I just think that Irene Aldana is going to go in there. She's going to put in the work. If it's not going to be a finish, I don't know if it's a submission loss, because when you look at Kunitskaya's record, she has submission losses, but that's when she fought at a bigger weight class. She fought at 145. She lost to Tanya Evinger, and but most of them by knockout. She feels that power, and she just gets really, really timid whenever she fought Chris Cyborg. Chris Cyborg hit her one time, and she didn't want to be in there with her.
Yeah, but that's Chris Cyborg.
Yeah, Aspen Ladd TKO'd her as well.
Yeah, and that I think the Aspen Ladd fight is a little bit more, what is the word, realistic to choose to compare it to than Cyborg, because Cyborg is kind of on another level. But Aspen Ladd, I think that fight, like I said, I think she's going to use that as a roadmap for how to win this fight, because I think Aspen Ladd and Aldana kind of have similar styles. Yeah. So I think Kunitskaya is going to use that experience to win this fight. Right. And Aspen Ladd's another fighter that's with Jim West. Yeah. I just felt like saying that one.
And so where's Jim West located at? I know that's off topic.
Dude, so he's with MMA Gold. But I really think that fight is going to set Kunitskaya up for this fight against Aldana. Like you were saying, she gets hit and then she kind of... It's in California, by the way. She gets hit, and she's had issues with that in the past. But I think it's happened at a level now to where she's adapted to it, and I think that she's going to be ready to win this one.
Right. And but yeah, I feel like Aldana just has the edge in this one. I think she goes in there and she just is able to put in the work, and I think she's not much bigger than Kunitskaya. There's just like a 1-inch reach advantage and a 1-inch height advantage. But I think Aldana is just able to land the crisper and better shots, and so I think Aldana's going to take it by decision, though. I don't know if she's able to finish Kunitskaya. I don't think it's easy to finish Kunitskaya. Yeah. But
well, that brings us to Tai Tuivasa and Greg Hardy. Very exciting heavyweight fight. Both guys are coming off a win.
I believe so.
And I think both of them need to continue stringing wins together, if I'm correct. Because I don't think
Greg Hardy's last fight was a loss to Marcin Tybura.
Oh, okay. Well, both guys need to get wins. I think Tai Tuivasa is coming off a win, but I can't remember if he's on a winning streak or if he's coming off like a 2-winning streak.
Two fight,
yeah. So he needs to keep it going, and Greg Hardy needs to get in the win column. I think both fighters come in swinging heavy.
Yeah. And Tuivasa's been talking a little bit of shit, and I think it's funny because that dude, like, when he talks shit to you don't know if he's really just talking shit to you or just messing with you, because it's the way his humor is.
Yeah, he's just a really funny dude. I love that guy.
And he already said, he's like, Greg Hardy's he's a cheater, he's a loser, like, he quits, he's a quitter. Like, I'm gonna go in there and hit him, he's gonna realize he doesn't want to be in there with me. And I think Greg Hardy still has the question to ask, though, is like, okay, we get it, you can compete at this level, but can you really compete at this high level?
Can you win at this level? Yeah, I think that's a very legitimate statement. I think to question Greg Hardy, I think it makes sense because his wins are good and his losses are really bad. So he needs to go out there and look great to prove a point, and he's not really doing that yet. And I think Tai Tuivasa has proved several times he can look great. So I think the odds are stacked against Greg Hardy. But I'm going to go Greg Hardy by knockout.
I think Tuivasa takes it.
I don't blame you.
I think I do think Greg Hardy's gonna come in swinging for the fences though, and it's just gonna be a matter of Tuivasa if he can withstand the storm just for that first round, because I don't think Greg Hardy has the cardio to go that long.
Tuivasa, I believe, does.
Which don't get me wrong, I know that Greg Hardy's gone 5 rounds. He went 5 rounds with Alexander Volkov. So yeah, and then also he used an inhaler between his second and third round, which I'm like, where the fuck was the inhaler in the 5-round fight? Like, what are you doing? But I know he does have asthma, and I don't want to cap on him too much for that shit, but he can't help it.
I got asthma.
He got eczema, and so I think what's that? I think with. I think with fucking Tuivasa though, I think he's just more experienced in that sense though. He's gonna be able to handle
definitely.
the storm.
And I think if this fight goes into the second or third round, Tuivasa's chances increase exponentially. Yeah. But I don't think it does go past.
Yeah, I think Greg Hardy, if he wants to win, it's gonna have to be the first round, because the second you go into the second and third round, these fucking Polynesians, bro. People need to stop fucking fighting these guys. They're especially these heavyweights, dude. They show that they can take beatings and just keep on going, you know. And I don't see Greg Hardy deciding to take down Tuivasa.
Nah.
Like, realistically, is he gonna try to go for a fucking double leg high crotch takedown? Like, not at all. That's not even the same type of thing. But
I was like,
just talking nonsense. But I think Tuivasa is gonna. I really want to say that's gonna be a second round knockout. I don't think it's gonna be an early one. I think it's gonna be a lot of him just having to withstand the storm of Greg Hardy. He's still a big fucking guy. He still hits hard. He's still an athlete. Hard, yeah, man. You saw him fold that dude on a Contender Series. Yep. But he's done it before, but I don't think he's able to do it against. I don't think he's able to do it against Tai Tuivasa though.
Yeah. I got Greg Hardy by knockout. I think he's going to get it in the first round. Because I do think Tai Tuivasa is going to let Greg Hardy gas himself out. I can't imagine that's not part of the game plan. Yeah. If he starts going, just let him go and stay away from it, because he's going to get tired, and then he can go knock him out.
Yeah, whenever I found out that Tuivasa used to train at AKA, I don't ever question him. I'm like, fuck, dude.
Yeah, like I said, I don't blame you.
There's other sometimes though where I'm like, why didn't you fucking win that fight? But because he did suffer some losses to Junior Dos Santos, and I was pretty upset about that. I didn't want either guy to lose.
Yeah, it's always tough going against Junior Dos Santos. Everybody loves that guy.
Such a nice guy.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever seen that? You might remember this. Whenever he lost to Cain Velasquez, and they still interviewed him after, he's like, I don't know why everybody's booing me right now. I just fought for all of y'all. I'm like, God, dude, he's fucking tugging at my heartstrings. Like, these piece of shit fans don't appreciate you. And that motherfucker has probably like lost years in the octagon just to put on a good fight for
his
people.
His fights were crazy. But Tai Tuivasa, another great guy. Everybody loves that guy. The Shui.
That's disgusting.
Pouring, he goes out into the crowd, takes their shoe, pours a beer in it, and drinks from it. It's hilarious.
It's funny to see, but like what did he do that with? He did it with Donald Cerrone's cowboy boot one time, and that was fucking gross. He what's that?
You don't think Donald Cerrone wears brand new boots to these things?
No.
I bet you
I don't.
Does.
I fucking doubt he does.
Bet you he does.
Come on, man. It's Donald Cerrone. You look at. He looks like he smells like a can of fucking Skull.
No.
And fucking. I'm sure he showers here and there.
He comes into those events looking fresh. Brand new feather in his brand new hat.
He has blush cheeks. He's probably on a fucking bender, like.
Brand new vest, always rocking those vests and the button-up shirts.
He also did it with Cub Swanson's shoes one time.
Yeah, that one's pretty gross, man.
Yeah, why was that one gross?
Cub Swanson's a gym rat.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure those shoes look brand new though.
Why are his shoes brand new?
They look a lot better condition than the fucking boots. I know for sure those fucking boots have seen some cow shit.
Man, it's just like when people buy jeans with holes in them.
Yeah.
Buy your boots and they look a little roughed up, so you look cool.
You know how you do that? You just go to like the Goodwill and just put holes in your jeans, and then
why don't you put holes in them?
Yeah, I mean they're like $2 if you're gonna buy holy jeans. Do that, you know. So, but yeah, I'm going to Tuivasa second round knockout.
Greg Hardy first round knockout. Don't at me. And then we're gonna have Gilbert Burns and Stephen Thompson in the co-main event, and I think that fight is a very hard one to choose between. You have Stephen Thompson, the very put together striker, very decorated striker, very lengthy, knows exactly how to use his range.
Yeah.
Uses that lead kick when he switches stances. Uses it so well he can keep anybody away because they know if they run, they're going to get... If they charge in, they're going to get caught with a side kick. Or if they stand at the distance that he wants you to stand at, you're going to get caught with a high kick and get knocked out. Gilbert Burns, on the other hand, if you let him get in close, he's going to knock you out.
Yeah.
Or take you down and choke you out. So I think this fight is going to be dependent on whether or not Stephen Thompson can keep his range, which he's a master at. So if you want my opinion right now, Stephen Thompson, I feel like he's going to be able to keep that distance.
I think it is. I agree with you. The thing is, I think a lot of people are really counting out Gilbert Burns. I've seen people say he's undersized for welterweight, which I disagree with. I don't think he is.
Look at the way he's sized up with Usman.
Yeah.
I think it was wild. I never realized that he was as big as he is.
Yeah.
Not that I ever thought he was undersized, but Usman's huge.
He's got a thick fucking neck, dude. Yeah.
And he kind of reminds me of like a Sean Sherk, Thiago Alves, where he's undersized, but it doesn't show. So is Burns undersized? Maybe, but it doesn't show, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But I think in this fight, it's not so much the size that's going to be the deciding factor as far as the range goes. It's just Stephen Thompson's style.
Yeah.
And you don't want to get in on it. So anything that Gilbert Burns likes to do, he has to get in on it.
And I don't think Gilbert Burns is too emotional coming in this fight, but he did say he's coming in this fight for revenge for Vicente Luque, who is Gilbert Burns' teammate that Stephen Thompson beat the shit out of. Yeah. And but that's the thing is going to be, whenever I see Gilbert Burns, he's built a lot like the other really successful light welterweights. Excuse me. He has a similar build to Tyron Woodley. Look what he did to Tyron Woodley. You know. Okay. He was the second guy to do that to him after his loss to Kamaru Usman, and look how Stephen Wonderboy Thompson struggled with Tyron Woodley. And so I think a big factor is not only because, of course, we know that Gilbert Burns has a better ground game. He's a multiple-time world champion in jiu-jitsu. He has phenomenal jiu-jitsu. And I think when it comes down to it, I don't think Gilbert's going to want to shoot for a takedown so abrupt or make it so obvious. He's going to disguise it. But I think he has the power easily to put out Stephen Thompson.
I do, too. I think if he gets in close... Yeah. And he can make either of those things happen.
But with Stephen Thompson, he's a phenomenal fighter. We're finally seeing him fight again. He hasn't fought since December when he fought Jeff Neal. And but I think with some of the ways that, look at how, because he only has one loss at, who's that? Gilbert Burns only has one loss at welterweight, and that's to the champion. And I don't think the way that Stephen Thompson fights is similar at all to Kamaru Usman. I don't think he goes in there and does that. And I think Gilbert Burns has the power to put him out. We've seen how Stephen Thompson's body has reacted to getting hit hard like that. Tyron Woodley caught him. Darren Till caught him. Anthony Pettis caught him real well. And I think Gilbert Burns is going to come in there. Not really. I hope he's not throwing fucking haymakers, because I think that's going to be the big deciding factor on who wins that fight. If he comes in there swinging wild,
he likes to do that.
Yeah, and he's very known for it. He has a really good right hand, and Stephen Thompson has next level striking. He is also a karate academy owner and trainer. Trains about 800 kids, so the guy knows what he's doing when it comes to.
Do you know that GSP used to send Stephen Thompson to guys to help them train for fights?
Really?
Like before Stephen Thompson was in the UFC, Brendan Schaub and some other heavyweights were training for a fight, and they got in touch with GSP, and he was like, yeah, I'm going to send this guy. And they're like, I don't know who that guy is. And they're like, we were looking at him, and he's tiny, and we were like, nah, we're going to tear this guy to pieces. Yeah. And they're like, anytime we try to get close to him, his foot's in our face, and there's nothing we can do about it. Yeah. He's been like that his whole career. And I think those Tyron Woodley fights taught him a lot with how to handle his style and how to properly execute his style throughout the entirety of the fight. So I think he's going to be able to keep his distance and win this fight. Mm-hmm. I think by decision. I think Gilbert Burns is good enough to not get knocked out. So I think he wins by decision, Stephen Thompson.
It's hard because I want to see Stephen Thompson challenge for the title.
He's the only guy who hasn't fought Usman. Yeah, that's as highly ranked as he is.
I don't think Usman wants to fight him.
I wouldn't blame him. Stephen Thompson's a scary dude.
I really don't
nice
think,
as he is.
I really don't think he wants to fight him. Whenever he talks about next title challengers, he never talks about Stephen Thompson. But when you bring up credentials, like he'll bring up guys like Michael Chiesa, which I think that when you look at Stephen Thompson's credentials, I think they're much better than Michael Chiesa's in terms of who deserves the next title shot.
Yeah, and I think Michael Chiesa is just a bit more active, so that's why he's always the one that's right in the forefront of everybody's mind.
Yeah, and but I would think I want Stephen Thompson to win, but I'm going Gilbert Burns by knockout.
All right, so you got Burns by knockout. I got Thompson by decision. And that brings us to the main event.
Yeah. Woo! Yeah. Show your tits. No, I'm just kidding. But can we edit that out?
What the hell, man?
What? No, why? Fine. Well, I'm not. You want me to say that? Fucking tell him to whip it out or something?
I mean, that's now what you said. So okay.
You show whatever you want to consent to. How about that?
There you go.
Yeah.
If that's not PC, I don't know what is.
I mean, we gotta keep it PC, man. I don't even know what PC stands for.
It's personal computer.
Oh, is it really? No. Oh, personal consent. See,
no, it's not that either.
It's not, what is it?
Politically correct.
Politically correct. Okay, I try. I'm fucking PC, dude. I just say a lot of dumb shit. I don't really mean it. Before I get fucking Me Too'd or some shit. Actually, not Me Too. Canceled. Fuck! I just keep making this work.
So anyway, Dustin Poirier is fighting Conor McGregor for the third time.
I'm not Harvey Weinstein.
The first fight. In the first fight, you had a very young Dustin Poirier and a very early version of Conor, where Conor was going in there crazy and being very aggressive with his counter striking. But I think what's different in the fight with his first fight with Poirier is that he was the aggressor. And he was the one starting a lot of those combinations. And with Poirier, a lot of times he likes to be the one who starts it.
Yeah.
So when he fights angry, he tries to be the one to start it. But usually it should just happen naturally. You should naturally be winning the fight. You should make it happen with your natural abilities and not try to force it because you're going to then make mistakes. And that's what happened in the first fight. Dustin Poirier made a mistake and got caught and knocked out. And then in the second fight, if you want to take that one away.
So the second fight, Dustin Poirier made the right adjustments. There's been a lot that's happened since their last fight. And Poirier was able to withstand the storm, throw some good shots right back. And in the second round, Poirier was able to pretty much debilitate Conor McGregor's lead leg and then caught him with a nice check hook that was landing really often. Eventually hurt him and knocked Conor McGregor out in the second round. And fucking got paid in full, man.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that happened in that fight is you saw Dustin having fun.
Yeah.
And when this happened when we were watching it, as soon as he got hit and then he landed a really good shot on Conor and then he kind of pointed at him and we were like, oh man, Dustin's having a good time. Actually, because normally when I'm watching those title fights or fights that I'm really invested in, I'm like on the edge of my seat. I'm super nervous. Like I catch myself holding my breath sometimes. But as soon as that happened, I was like, okay, no, Dustin's having fun.
Yeah.
So even if he's getting hit and I'm thinking like, oh man, this is Conor, you can't let him hit you like that.
Yeah.
Dustin knows what's going on. He's having fun. And if he's having fun, I don't think there's anybody that can stop him.
Yeah. A peaceful Dustin is a scary Dustin. We haven't seen him get emotional in a very long time. And I don't think McGregor's going to be able to pull that out of him. I think that
he's trying to.
Trying hard, and it's just really cringy. It's just really whack. Like, I expected something better. I expected him, but whack. I expected something better out of this. He's left like a voice message on Twitter and stuff that fucking blew up everywhere. And people were like, "This is hilarious," and it's like it's not fucking funny.
Yeah,
honestly.
It's like you said, it's very cringy. He left a voice message for Dustin, and he's sitting there like very quietly going, "I'm coming for you."
Yeah,
and it's like
he calls him P-head.
All right,
so,
P-head. Like, who wrote this for you? The guy who wrote Little Rascals. Grow up, man.
And what's that? He talks about what else did he say? He tried to say that Dustin Poirier's wife sent him a DM request, and he posted it. And whenever the picture was really just, he wouldn't have viewed his wife's page. That was it. And went to send her a message, and it said, "You two don't follow each other," and there was no message. And so it's like, all right, man, like you really can't fucking do that. And then Colby Covington even tried to get involved in this whole mix up. Just to brush up on that real quick, because he needs to stay relevant, even though he's getting a title shot. He had been going on for months saying that Dustin Poirier is a piece of shit and that he trains too hard. And
what is he called, Dustin Poirier?
Dustin Poirier, because he's a soy boy.
Yeah.
Oh, what's that? Some of his nicknames crack me the fuck up, but I think it's a really shitty one. What's that? Well, I forgot what he called Tyron Woodley. I don't know, but he called him Marty Snoozman. That was that was another one. But yeah, so he tried to say that he fucking that Dustin Poirier beat the shit out of, like, so knocked out some amateur and got in his face and was like, and knew, yelling at him because this was leading into the Khabib fight. And you see the punch, and it was a really hard punch.
Yeah.
But that guy also didn't have headgear on. He also knew that he was going to be warming up with Dustin or training with be one of his sparring partners for the fight. So sometimes, with these gyms, you are the punching bag whenever these guys are getting ready for big games.
Like you said, it was a really strong hit, but the guy wasn't knocked out.
Yeah.
He got sat down, he got put in a chair. But as soon as it happened, he catches himself, and then he just puts his hands on his knees. Like,
and Dustin backed up.
That would have been the end of that.
He didn't keep going.
Yeah,
like
Dustin went to the other side of the cage and was like, yeah.
He's like, and new. But, I mean, it kind of fucked up to say and new to your training partner? Yeah.
Well, no, I don't think so, because if I'm someone's training partner and they just sit me on the freaking mat, I'm going to be like, hey, you better go out there and win this now, because I didn't just take that for nothing.
Yeah.
Like, I hope you're and new.
And so, I mean, I think on Dustin's part, it's kind of like you got to be kind of careful. Not careful, but you have to be, like, that's your teammate, so you don't want to fucking...
It is, but that's what I'm saying. Yeah. He's his teammate. He wants to see that from Dustin.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to get hurt.
Probably right in that moment, it was probably like, okay, like, what the fuck, man? But... I think with it though, it's just like, okay, that's not that big of an issue,
It's it's no Sean Strickland and Orlando Sanchez.
I mean, it's not at all. It's like man, it's just like in high school, whenever the varsity would be going to the playoffs and they would bring guys up from the JV to play, to like scrimmage against, and get rotations in. It's like, realistically, if some of those guys aren't going to be seeing the fucking playoff field, they bring them in to boost up the confidence of the varsity guys, so they can beat the shit out of these fucking JV kids and then go on and play in the playoffs. They're just confidence builders, and I'm sure that's probably what that guy was.
I think when you're training, especially for a fight like Khabib, when you're training, you can't always go against the highest level. Because then you have no room to grow. You're constantly on edge. But you bring in some of these fresher guys, these newer guys who they're going to make mistakes. And if you're never training against someone who makes mistakes, you're never going to be able to capitalize on them. You're never going to be able to recognize them. And in this sparring footage, you see the guy made a mistake. He dropped his hands, and Dustin Poirier capitalized on it. So you have to have those training partners who maybe aren't as good as you, because they allow you that room to be creative and to be mindful and watchful of your opponent. Whereas if you're if you're constantly training with the top level guys, you're never going to have that moment.
You're never going to have that creativity. GSP talked about it. And so, I mean, I get what was going on, but back to the whole thing, it was just like, I think with the fight, though, is like, I don't know what point I was trying to make out all that. I guess just kind of a timeline.
Adding what's all been going on with this fight. Conor, all these people trying to get at Dustin Poirier's head, but Dustin's remained peaceful. He doesn't care. He has said that he expects a crazy Conor McGregor, and I think everyone does. I wouldn't see why Conor wouldn't come out there trying his best for that early knockout. Because I think the way everybody sees this fight now is Dustin's getting a little bit of credit, finally. And they're saying, if this fight goes past the second round, Conor doesn't have a chance.
Right.
But I think you can never count out Conor. But I think people are finally seeing Dustin as the great fighter he is, and they're saying if this fight doesn't go Conor's way early on, then it's going Dustin's way.
Yeah,
I think that's very true.
It can also go Dustin's way very early, which is hard to... It's hard to tell because Dustin is a slow starter.
Yeah.
It takes a little while to get comfortable. And I had barbecue for lunch. That fucked me up. So you kind of see it, though, in the first fight that he is a slow starter. The second fight.
Yeah.
He was getting adjusted. He started taking some shots, but when we started warming up, that's when he started having fun. And I think with that, I think that he's gonna go in and he's gonna probably still be a kind of a slower starter. He might start off a little faster, but I don't see him going out there pushing the pace right off the fucking bat, because what he's gonna do is he's gonna gas himself out, and he did that whenever he fought Justin Gaethje. He matched his pace, and by the fourth round, whenever he stopped Justin Gaethje, you saw him, he was exhausted, he was tired, and I think what we're gonna expect out of McGregor, though, he's gonna come out and do something flashy. I think he's gonna come out and do something wild that we hadn't seen before, exactly how he did, because he knows he has something to prove with this fight. So.
I could easily see Conor coming out with a flying knee or some wild spinning kick.
Yeah, or he's going to come out and try to fake him with something straight left. And I think what we've seen, though, is Dustin's taken his best shot since then. Even though he's been knocked out by him, Dustin's taken his best shot, and he doesn't drop his head anymore whenever someone throws a punch in it now, because in that first fight, he dropped his head real low, throw a punch, and Conor came over the top and caught him on the back, right behind the ear, which is a legal shot. And a legal shot. It's not illegal. And after that, that's when Dustin just tumbled over. But now we've seen that Dustin's felt his power. He's felt his speed multiple times. And I think going into this, I think if anything, Dustin's gotten into his head, because he's shown that, while McGregor talks about he's a lover of martial arts and he always wants, he's a student of the game. He always wants to learn. Conor's now he's at a road bump, he's at a roadblock. He's at a roadblock now, because he's like, man, well, this guy's mixing up a lot better than I am. I used to be able to mix it up like this. And people say, like, oh, well, Conor came out in too much of a boxing stance. That's why he took those leg kicks too hard. And so he'll come out in the karate stance. And he'll come out in the karate stance, but it's like, okay, if he comes out of karate stance, he's going to be very heavy on his lead leg. And now he's more susceptible to those leg kicks. And if you watch the Embedded series, you would see that Dustin Poirier even was talking. They recorded him talking to Jorge Masvidal. I don't know if he knew the camera was there, but he's like, the leg kicks weren't even part of the game. I just threw when it landed, so I just kept throwing them. Yeah. And so I think with that, he even said, coming in this fight, he's like, I expect him to start throwing leg kicks. Because Conor has to be the aggressor in some ways. He has to land that first shot to get that confidence up. He has to be the pusher of the pace, even though he's a counter striker. Look at most of his fights. Yeah, he's won most of his fights. His most famous stoppages are by him being a counter striker, but he's not always a counter striker. He pushes forward. He's always throwing shots. And what he does is he'll throw the first couple shots, get you, throw back, and then he feeds off of that. He baits you with it. He's also a offensive fighter as well.
Yeah, and he's shown that with his wins against Donald Cerrone, Dennis Seaver,
Chad Mendes,
Marcus Brimage. Even though he was countering Marcus Brimage's faking for a takedown.
Yeah.
But yeah, Conor McGregor likes to go in there and make it the Conor show, and Dustin Poirier doesn't feed into that. So he has to be the aggressor. Otherwise, you're just going to have Dustin Poirier going out there having a good time winning the fight. So the way I see this fight going, I think it goes pretty similarly to the first. I think Conor's going to come out there and be a bit more aggressive. I could even see him catching Dustin at one point, but I think Dustin's going to be able to handle it. What I'd like to see is Dustin Poirier take it to the ground and start attacking with some submissions.
Yeah. People forget how slick Dustin Poirier is on the ground. No one
His
really talks about it.
jiu-jitsu is fantastic, but he hasn't shown it in a very long time.
Yep.
I mean, you look at the guillotine he got Khabib in. That was a deep freaking guillotine, and if Khabib wasn't Khabib, he would have tapped out. Yeah. Anybody else would have tapped out.
He tapped Anthony Pettis out to a body triangle.
Yeah, and Max Holloway in their first fight, he got him in a triangle armbar, and it was dirty. So he's got several Darce choke wins. He's got really great jiu-jitsu, so that's what I'd love to see, but I think it stays on the feet.
Under Tim Crater.
Yeah.
Yep. Tim Crater has amazing jiu-jitsu first, I think, with Louisiana to have a black belt. But yeah, I actually me and Zach, when we met up today, I decided to dedicate 20 minutes of my busy schedule to go ahead and talk about UFC trilogies also, because I think it's just fun, and I'm probably gonna get shit for talking about this, but guess what, man? I had a good time fucking doing this.
Sorry, you're just a casual and you don't find the smaller details in MMA exciting.
I think UFC facts are fun. So out of the trilogies, this is the 14th trilogy in UFC history, 13 total. 2 of those fights were actually 3-0'd. It was Tito Ortiz versus Frank Shamrock, and Frank Edgar versus BJ Penn. All 3 of those, Tito Ortiz and Frank Edgar, 3-0'd those fighters. One of those fights was a 1 win for, and there's another one that was 1 win, 1 draw, and 1 win for. That wins Frankie Edgar. Yeah, so he lost the first fight against Gray Maynard. They rematched it to draw, and in the trilogy fight, Frankie Edgar ends up knocking out Gray Maynard. And so of that 13, 3 of those fights, it was fighters that won the first one, lost the second one, and won the last one was Randy Couture when he defeated Vitor Belfort, Sam Stout when he fought Spencer Fisher.
Those are some of the most fun fights you'll ever see.
Yeah, and the Randy Couture fight with Vitor Belfort is the second fight that he lost in their trilogy. It was because of a cut above his eyebrow. The cut, I don't know what happened, but the glove cut him above the eyebrow. And then the other one was BJ Penn versus Matt Hughes. BJ Penn won the first one, lost the second, and then won the last one by a 20-second knockout, 21 seconds into the first round. And so another one was we had one that was a no contest, then a win for each of them was with Charles Oliveira versus Nick Lentz. The first fight was no contest due to an illegal knee, and then I want to say Nick Lentz won one, and then Charles Oliveira won this last one. And then this is a pretty crazy stat. So these are fighters or trilogies that happen where fighters lost the first fight but won the next 2, which we have Chuck Liddell versus Randy Couture, Forrest Griffin versus Tito Ortiz, George St. Pierre versus Matt Hughes, Stipe Miocic versus Daniel Cormier, Cain Velasquez versus Junior Dos Santos, and Tim Sylvia versus Andrei Arlovsky.
And if you're a casual and you fell asleep during that, you're a filthy casual. But I'd like to wake you up by saying the statistics show that the majority of the time with these trilogies, if you're
46.15%.
If you're 1-1 and you lost the first fight, you're probably going to win the third fight.
Yeah. And then you take that, and then you look at, I'm trying to find this one. You look at the other one is, McGregor probably has, if you want to take MMA math and take it fucking extreme, then we're doing it. I'm taking you to class right now. So if you take these trilogies into account, right now, Conor McGregor has a 22.9% chance of winning because he won the first one, lost the second one, just like how Randy Couture when he fought Vitor Belfort or when Sam Stout fought Spencer Fisher. And so right now, you look at Dustin Poirier, he has a 46.15% chance of winning. He lost the first one, won the second one, so there's a higher chance of him winning that third fight. Because especially with trilogy fights, I mean, I know we're kind of getting off subject, we're just kind of rambling on a little bit, but I think it's important to talk about. I think it's important to talk about trilogy fights because they're special. They never really fucking happen, and usually whenever that third fight happens, it's outside of the UFC and no one really gives a shit. It's either Passer Prime and Chuck and Tito. The trilogy happened, no one cared. I mean,
shouldn't have happened.
I mean, but. At all, it was way past Chuck's prime. Tito has shown that he was still in great shape. He was still ready to fight because he never really got out of. He did get out of his prime, but he spent a lot of his years in his prime injured, so he took a lot of that time off. And so, with that though, I think with trilogy fights, there's something to always look into. They're always fun to watch. If you have UFC Fight Pass, go back and watch all these trilogy fights. They're all phenomenal. Pick one of my favorite ones is Frankie Edgar and Gray Maynard.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the best ones.
Yeah.
That first fight was not the most exciting, but it was a win by Gray Maynard.
Yeah, and
then the second fight was very exciting.
Yeah,
that one had me on the edge of my seat. I remember watching that, and I remember seeing Frankie get dropped like 7 or 8 times in the first round, and he's just rolling around on the canvas getting beat up. And then from then on, in my opinion, he's winning that fight. At one point, he picks Gray Maynard up, walks him across the cage, and then slams him on the ground. I was like, it doesn't get any better than this.
No, it was insane.
And then he knocks him out in the third fight. It's freaking nuts.
Yep. That fight happened. The third fight happened in Houston.
Yeah, I wrote about it in high school on our newspaper.
It's insane. And so it's just like...
I still have that newspaper.
And do you really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll show that to me. That's actually really cool. But with that, though, man, I just think that when it comes down to... You never see a fourth fight. I guess they just don't really care to do it.
Yeah, there's some weird rule against it.
Yeah.
Unwritten rule, I guess.
Boxing does it. Fuck it.
Yeah. I think there are some fights that should have a fourth fight. I think I would have loved to see Matt Hughes and BJ Penn fight again. Obviously not anymore. But I feel like BJ, maybe that's just because I was such a big fan of Matt Hughes. Mm-hmm. But man, BJ Penn just winning those fights, I was like, come on, dude. Matt, you're so much better than this. But BJ Penn was taking the world by storm at that time. So there's just not much to be done about it. And then the Sam Stout Spencer Fisher fights, those are freaking exciting fights.
Yeah.
I think that was I think one of the best trilogy fights that was how did you say it? It was a win for someone.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the best ones for sure. That was so freaking fun to watch.
Yeah.
But me personally, if I had to choose a favorite trilogy, I'm biased, but I'm gonna pick GSP against Matt Hughes.
Dude, those were great fights.
That first fight, he lost by armbar with 1 second left in the round. In the round, and then the next fight, he was the second fight where he knocked him out with a head kick, and the third fight where he tapped him out with an armbar.
Yeah,
man, talk about revenge.
And so it was just so pretty much to put also the numbers down. A good majority is always the guy who lost the first one came back and won the other two.
Yeah.
And so what that kind of transparents to is I don't even know if I use that
translates
to that translates to is like, you look at Dustin Poirier, then Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor was fucking lightning in a bottle back whenever he beat Dustin Poirier. There was nobody no matter what, that guy, that right there is stuff of legends, honestly. And I think that right there will always be, it's hard to be a star in MMA because you're always going to be compared to that guy. And whenever the next big MMA star is going to happen when we least expect it, we're not going to know what's going to happen, And same exact thing with basketball. People talk about Michael Jordan, LeBron James, too many comparisons, but it's like, if you just don't realize that, like, Michael Jordan had his time, now it's LeBron's time,
Yeah.
And I think with Conor McGregor, though, just that reign that he went on from, winning in the UFC to becoming a double champ.
And never defending his belts, but still being treated like a champion in every one of his fights.
Yeah. And so just him going and, becoming the first ever double champ, him going and talking all that shit that he did and just creating this madness that is Conor McGregor, that was Conor McGregor. He's not that person anymore. Conor was just at another level at the time. But since we look at how these guys have grown as of course they've changed as people. They change over time, but you look at how they've grown as fighters, I feel like Dustin's done the most maturing out of the two. Conor McGregor is always going to be something special to watch. Even if he loses this fight, I still think no matter what, he's still going to be a very fun fight to watch, and he's always going to be Conor McGregor. Like, even if he loses and I don't want to see him fight Nate Diaz, honestly, but even if he loses, I still am always going to tune in to watch a Conor McGregor fight.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a huge Conor McGregor fan. I really am. I just didn't like the inactivity. I didn't like the not defending. And I can't go for him over Dustin Poirier.
Yeah.
But yeah, if he loses this fight, I think he looked fantastic in the last fight. He just had a different style in it, and I'm not, he's the one who gets to decide that. So who am I to say, oh, that style doesn't work for him?
Yeah.
He looked great. He was landing big shots, and he arguably won the first round. So, and then he went out there and got knocked out. So to say that he's washed up, I think is insane.
Yeah.
I don't think that Conor McGregor losing some fights here and there means he's washed up. It just means he has to reevaluate how he does things. Because his loss to Khabib, he looked bad.
Yeah.
He was getting dropped by a wrestler.
Yeah.
So he needed to reevaluate himself, and I don't think that he did.
And everyone says that, oh, McGregor looked like shit his last fight. That wasn't the same McGregor. And it's like, I don't think he looked bad. I thought he won that first round.
Yeah.
I think he looked really sharp. I think what it was is just Poirier caught him. He was throwing those leg kicks. He was throwing good check hooks. No one talks about the fucking check hooks that he caught him with multiple times.
Poirier was setting up for a 5-round fight, and Conor McGregor was trying to set up for a one-punch knockout.
Yeah. And McGregor didn't look bad, and people talk about his stances, coming into the fight. It's like, what kind of stances is he going to use? Was he going to come in with long hair? Is he going to come in with short hair? And it's just like, y'all are so
ridiculous things,
obsessive over this guy. And trust me, I get why he's once in a lifetime when it comes to MMA, or once in a generation more so. And but he just got beat. He lost to the better fighter that night, and people still don't want to believe that Dustin Poirier is the better fighter because what he did to Dustin Poirier in their first fight. But you look at Dustin Poirier, who's gone from the bottom of the bottom to the top of the top. Yeah, he lost Khabib, but everyone loses to Khabib.
Yeah.
He's been became a complete different fighter since his loss to Michael Johnson. That fight really set the path for who Dustin Poirier is, and I think Dustin Poirier is stronger mentally. I think he's stronger physically, and I do think he's all around the better fighter.
Bless you. God bless you.
Thank you. But also, I think what's going to happen is, like, people talk about, well, McGregor's got to come in there and just control the pace. Well, that's what he's done for the last 2 times they fought.
Yeah.
He won the first one, yeah, but then what happened with the second? He controlled the pace in the second fight. And as soon as because that's what everyone says, is like, whoever gets the middle is gonna win this fight.
And I don't think that that's necessarily true, because Dustin doesn't like to fight in the middle of the cage.
Yeah,
he likes to be up against the cage, whether it's him up against or the other up against. He just likes to be there.
He fights in a phone booth.
He likes a very grueling fight.
Yeah,
he likes it to be a bit of a brawl, even though he's considered a technical striker. He likes to sit there and sling leather and hit you in the face. And he likes to put you up against the cage. And if you put him up against the cage, that's fine. He's going to block your shots and fire right back. And that's what happened in the second fight. And it kept going there. And I was like, I don't think it's a good idea for Conor to put him there. And
that's what, I mean, that you're playing into Dustin's fight. I mean, the thing is, though, is you look at the range, and I think that's where Conor is going to have to win the fight, is if he keeps him at bay. If he keeps him at range, because what's going to happen is that Dustin's going to have to come in. Dustin doesn't throw a lot of kicks. I know everyone keeps talking about these fucking calf kicks, but that's not. I mean, he throws leg kicks, but he doesn't throw body kicks. He doesn't throw head kicks. And
I'd say he throws a normal amount of body kicks. You look at his fight against Gaethje, and I think he did all kinds of strikes against Gaethje.
Do you see him throwing a body kicks to close the distance with him?
To close the distance, no. I think you're going on the right track. I would agree with you. But I don't think it's fair to say he doesn't throw a lot of leg kicks or body kicks. But no, I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you there. But yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I think what's gonna happen is if Conor wants to win, he has to keep him at bay. He has to keep a distance with him. Use his kicks that he's known for. And I only think that was only going to work so much. But what's going to happen is Dustin's going to want to punch him. And he's going to come in, and that's whenever Conor's going to catch him with a counter strike. And I think that's where Conor wins the fight. I don't think him fighting in a phone booth with a guy like Dustin Poirier is going to win.
No.
Dustin Poirier, he makes it ugly, but also he's crisp as fuck whenever he lands punches, too.
And when Dustin wants to punch you and put you away, what he does is he throws that left hand, or he throws that right hand to set up for a left.
Yeah.
And he reaches for it, and he ducks his head down real low, and then throws the next overhand right.
Yeah.
Or overhand left. But he keeps both hands low when he does that. So I think he could easily get caught by Conor.
And that's what we, whenever, especially in the first round of the second fight, he was catching, Conor was catching him with a lot of jabs.
Yeah.
Just keeping him on the outside. And you saw Dustin just kind of like wave his finger at him like, all right, that was a good one. And I think that's where Conor's going to have to keep it. He wants to knock out really, really bad. He wants to prove a point. But I don't think he's going to be able to get the knockout as quick as he wants it. He's going to have to play it out and prove that, okay, we're coming the second round sharp. Like, this is the furthest it's gotten out.
Most definitely.
And he's going to have to go take it into later. He's going to have to conserve his energy, take it into the later rounds, and prove that, okay, I can, maintain my stamina and my output while, keeping everything together while he's still doing that. But When it comes down to gas tanks, of course, Dustin Poirier has a better gas tank.
Yeah.
We know that for a fact.
That's just proven.
Yeah, and Dustin's fought multiple fights at 155 for 5 rounds, and he's even going in the 4th round. He's gotten finishes in the 4th round. And when people bring up, well, look at how Khabib, it took Khabib 4 rounds to beat Conor, but it only took Khabib 3 rounds to beat fucking Dustin.
But I think Dustin made him have to finish that fight,
Yeah.
and I don't think Conor posed a threat to Khabib.
Yeah.
But I think Dustin posed a threat to Khabib, and he made him do that.
And I do think that Conor won the 3rd round in their fight whenever he fought Khabib, but that's because Khabib decided, I feel like training stand up. I feel like standing up. And it's like, who the fuck does that? But also with Dustin, I think Dustin was exhausted in the
he tired himself out
bad. By the 3rd round, he was exhausted. I think, like I always say, is like I think he was set up to lose in that fight. They wanted Khabib to have as much of an advantage as he did. He had the time zone advantage. He was there for like a month and a half training in that weather
Dustin was there for like a week or two.
Yeah,
weeks.
training in 100-degree weather at night.
Yeah.
And it's like you can only get used to so much, dude. But when it comes down to it, though, I think this is the same thing I said about Brandon Moreno and Davison Figueiredo. You look at Davison Figueiredo, all around, he's the better fighter. He has the better striking. He has a better jiu-jitsu. But I think when it comes down to who can pull off a better performance, who can pull off who can be a better fighter and really bring it to somebody, I think it's Dustin Poirier. I think Dustin Poirier, no matter where the fight goes, he's with it. If it's standing up, he'll take a shot to give a shot, but he also he doesn't really ever get too hurt, and I think he has the composure to not do that. He doesn't throw sloppy like when in the Khabib fight. He threw very, very sloppy.
Yeah.
And I think Conor has the better striking. Jiu-jitsu wise, I couldn't tell you, honestly. It points at Dustin Poirier because he has submission wins, but Conor has jiu-jitsu as well, and he works on it. I know he's working on his takedown defense because he called Dustin Poirier a dusty bitch for taking him down.
He said whoever shoots first.
And he said whoever shoots first
and
is
then
a dusty
Dustin
bitch.
said, well, this is mixed martial arts, and you claim to be a lover of the art, and yet you're saying I can't take you down. I'm gonna take you down. I'm gonna do whatever I want. It's mixed martial arts. That's part of the game.
Yeah, and so I think Conor will be anticipating a takedown in their fight, and because he got that takedown early within the first 30 seconds, but I think at the end of the day though, is Dustin Poirier the better boxer? I don't think so. Is he the most technical? No, but I think he's the better fighter, and I think that's what we're gonna see this Saturday. I think Dustin Poirier is gonna. I think he knocks him out again because Conor's going to get tired and Dustin goes for the kill. It's probably going to be another TKO, but I want to see a submission win from Dustin Poirier.
I do too, but I agree. I think it's going to be another knockout win by Dustin. So,
because I think I'm sorry, go ahead. I think Dustin is on the not Dustin, excuse me. I think Conor is on the backside of his career and he just doesn't realize it yet. I still think he's a phenomenal fighter. But when it comes down back to being at the top, it's like I don't think you can hang with these guys. I don't think you realize that these lightweights are a lot bigger than whenever you were fighting at featherweight, And whenever he was champ at featherweight, he moved up to lightweight. He fought Eddie Alvarez. Eddie Alvarez is a good fighter, but he's never going to be a prominent champion. He was a beatable champ, And I don't think Conor can hang with some of these top guys anymore. And now if Conor comes out and wins, I'll tell you right now, I won't be surprised. It's Conor McGregor. You kind of...
Yeah, like we said, you can't count him out.
Yeah.
You can't count him out. He's Conor McGregor. He built up the reason that name means something for a reason. So, to wrap it up, Dustin Poirier, that's where we stand.
Yeah. I'm going Dustin. You're going Dustin also?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. So
let us know what your thoughts are on these fights. Make sure to subscribe and listen and like and comment and do all those things, please. So we're going to have our predictions posted on Instagram. You can check them out there if you didn't feel like listening to us for an hour. I don't blame you. They're on Instagram.
Check those out. You submit your picks to us. Let us know.
Yeah.
I mean, you can leave them in the comments. You can private message them to us. What's it called? We love to talk about those kinds of things and let us know. I mean, give us your opinions.
Let us know, and we're excited to see these fights Saturday.